Well, good morning. It's Monday, September 7th, Labor Day, St. Andrew's Episcopal Church morning meditation. For those of you that are on the phone, we've got a screen share, but I will explain it to you as we do it. Today's title is Inspiration and Theology. Where does inspiration come from? Well, I knew I had to meditate today. I didn't know where or how. I turned around on our bookshelf and there was a book back there. Its name was Stonehenge, and it struck me. So we're going to inspire and theologize about Stonehenge today. No. So, Stonehenge has a long and varied history, and wherever you go, you can see all kinds of stuff. One of the places that I went online was, and it came up with this. The further back you go, the more you find how pure our religious sensibilities were. Far from starting out with a plurality of gods, the earliest beliefs we can identify in Egypt and in India all indicate a belief in one God with many names and attributes. Over time, this became corrupted, with the various powers and attributes becoming worshipped in their own right, along with angels, demons, and great men who are also deified, such as Odin and Thor. The evidence for the belief in one God is not just limited to the old empire of the East, however. It can also be seen in what we know the earliest spiritual belief system in Europe, and that of the Druids. And on screen, Sandy, and we have a picture of Stonehenge from above. Bill, if you would read this section, please.
Sure. The Druids believed in one God who was present in everything, that could not be contained within walls or idols. This God had three main aspects to him: that of the past, the present, and the future, corresponding with being the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer. This is the same as the original Aryan Vedic belief, which then became corrupted into what we know as Hinduism today, with its many gods and goddesses. It is likely that this triple aspect to God in the Druids' understanding had an influence on the later Orthodox formulation of the Christian Trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, along with other Druidic traditions such as the sanctified space being a sanctuary for those being pursued.
So what we have on here is a ground level shot of Stonehenge with the one standing cross-piece stone that's on top. And I kind of like this because what it does is most people believe that Stonehenge was way prehistoric Christ. So what we're saying is that many religions came up with one being, and then somewhere it split off into the three. And if you think about other religions throughout the world, at least the ones that I'm aware of, they all kind of start with one, and then they have their sub-deities like St. Andrew's and St. Mark and St. Benedict and all those guys. So it all starts in one.
And St. Susan.
Okay.
I love it.
I'm here, you know.
Tina, if you would read this, please.
And on the day you cross over the Jordan to the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall set up large stones and plaster them with plaster. And you shall write on them all the words of this law when you cross over to enter the land that the Lord your God is giving you, a land flowing with milk and honey, as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has promised you. And when you have crossed over the Jordan, you shall set up these stones, concerning which I commanded you today, on Mount Ebal, and you shall plaster them with plaster. And there you shall build an altar to the Lord your God, an altar of stones. You shall wield no iron tool on them. You shall build an altar to the Lord your God of uncut stones, and you shall offer burnt offerings on it to the Lord your God.
And here we have a view of Stonehenge again from above, but at a more angle. One of the things that I just found out that happened when I did this, each one of these next three are readings from the Bible. And when we get all done, I can go back and tell you where they came from. But at this point, we're just going to continue on with ours. Susan, if you're still on, would you read this, please?
Yes. And Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant had stood, and they are there to this day.
And here we have a picture of Stonehenge on the summer solstice with the sun shining through under the lintel between the two great stones. This one I did correctly. This is from Numbers. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel and get from them staffs, one for each father's house, from all their chiefs according to their father's houses, 12 staffs. Write each man's name on his staff, and write Aaron's name on the staff of Levi. For there shall be one staff for the head of each father's house. Then you shall deposit them in the tent of meeting before the testimony, where I am meeting with you. And the staff of the man who I choose shall sprout. Thus I will make to cease from me the grumblings of the people of Israel, which they grumble against you." And this passage is particularly noted because of the 12. The assumption is from day one that there were 12 great stones laid up at Stonehenge. So what we've done is gone from Druid time, which is how far long ago, who knows, up through the prophets who were before Christ, BC, all stating that there is 12 stones, one God, maybe incarnate into three persons, but still one to start with. And that's our meditation for this morning. And I'll do like Sandy does. If anybody would care to comment, feel free.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
That was
I'll
Dor-
have to catch up the beginning of it, trying yet another device to log on today, but if it's got to do with stones, I'm always highly interested, so I very much appreciate this information.
Not a problem.
I'll say that one of the highlights of the only trip that I've ever had to England, but one of the highlights was going to Stonehenge. And sometimes I have a tendency to rush up to something and then stop short because it overwhelms me. And that happened at Stonehenge. It was, okay, let's get there, let's get there. We had to follow this path. And of course, there were a lot of other visitors there too. But then I got up as close as you can get. And just the whole spirituality, I guess is the best word to use, of the place, just almost knocked me over. It was an amazing feeling in it, and highlight for me. Stonehenge is pretty special.
I have to say, I haven't been there to experience it yet, but I hope to someday. But when the kids were little, Josh was 5, Sophie was 3, we did a 7,000-mile cross-country trek with our camper to do dino trekking, and we went to Mesa Verde, and we hiked 3 hours to go to the petroglyphs. And there was nobody guarding it, and it was just standing there. When we got right up near them, I could actually feel the spirit there. I put my hands near the rocks but didn't touch them, and it was as if they were alive. It was something I will never forget.
Yeah, well, Joyce planned our 25th anniversary trip, 10 days self-guided around England and Scotland. And I insisted that it include Stonehenge. As a science teacher, the science of that, the lining up of the equinox, and the connection between that and the spirituality of the Druids, connecting heavenly signs, if you will, with personal, communal spirituality was really quite something. And right nearby was the cathedral, which was Joyce's focus. And I have a couple of little replica angels that we bought in the gift shop that are hanging on a couple of doors in the house that remind me of that trip, which also included a visit to the Hannah ancestral family castle in Scotland. It was in a state of repair and restoration at that point. That was pretty amazing too. And I spent a summer working at Mesa Verde, so I'm Susan, I know what you're talking about.
It's intense, yeah.
So when we started all this, the title of this was Inspiration in Theology. And right behind Tina's head, if you can see my mouse pointer, is the book
Yeah.
Stonehenge. And that's where the inspiration came from.
Oh, great.
So thanks all.
Would I-
Have a good day.
Wait,
And
wait,
we'll-
wait. Tom, one
Yes,
second.
Sandy.
What I just want to say that I really never thought about everything and all religions starting as one and then branching off with different thoughts or however you want to put that, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit or whatever. But that was very interesting. I never thought of that. Thank you for sharing.
Not a problem. Okay, all. We'll see you all later. Have a good one.
Good to see you all. Bye. Blessings.